Hey, what's up, YouTube? Uh, so I've been making these videos about my Twilight deck, and I take back what I said about it being tier 0. I don't really think that it's going to be good enough to be tier 0. Uh, and really, it's nothing in the OCG with Shoutout running around. I mean, sometimes you can win, but yeah, it's not tier 0. So what I'm thinking is that the deck is still good enough to be competitive, and especially in the TCG, which is what I'm in anyways. I'm in the US Shuttle, and that Star Seraph whatever isn't around yet. So I don't know how long it'll be before those cards hit the TCG, but until then, I think like this Twilight deck could be tier 1 in the TCG for who knows, maybe a year, half a year, one format. So in that case, I might just build this in real life and go for it since the structure decks are coming out. So I didn't make a deck list yet video, but here it is. 3 Judgment Dragon. You know, this is not a win condition, but it's more like an out. Judgment Dragon has become an out for this deck. It helps you get out of a tight spot whenever you need it. You can sink level 10 to make Leo. Yeah, Judgment Dragon, it's still good enough to run 3 of them, so I run 3. Blackluster Soldier. This card's better than Judgment Dragon. You can special it in defense mode, and usually if you have support to back it up, which this deck does a good job of, then you just get to use his effect once per turn, every turn. If you had to, if his effect gets negated or you get in a really tight spot, you can also use him to sink for 10, Leo, lights and darks all over. So yeah, Chaos Sorcerer, same deal, just weaker. But you know, still pretty strong, 2300, 2000. I never special him in defense because it can get run over, but as far as a good attacker, it's pretty solid. If I need a quick removal, take out a mid-rash, can use this guy. If, you know, playing online on the Checkmate server. In the TCG, this is going to be way better because there's no shadows to worry about. The tier 1 decks in TCG are a joke. Harpies are nothing compared to this deck. Fire Fists, I don't know. They're not that much of a threat. I think the biggest threat could be Heroes with the new support with the Dark Law. And I don't even know when that's coming to TCG, but even that deck, I'd say that these 2 decks are pretty evenly matched. New Heroes with this Twilight build. If that would be the tier 1, that'd be the meta, I'd be pretty cool with that. I'd be happy. Wouldn't mind. So anyways, Chaos Sorcerer, same thing as BLS, except with this guy's level 6, so can go with Raiden and him to make a Leo, or I could go him and a Plague Spreader and make numerous level 8s, and that's kind of what this deck's about. 3 Destiny Hero Malicious. Well, same deal as Chaos Sorcerer, being that they're level 6. Easy to special summon on the field, they get milled. You can discard them with these discarding effects. Lumina as well. Works really good with Plague Spreader Zombie if you've got one of each in the grave, or if you've got a Plague Spreader Zombie in the hand and one in the grave. You can make 2 level 8s at the same time, 1 turn. That's pretty good. You can usually come up with a combo that could overcome my opponent's field no matter what, as long as I can get both off successfully. Then I've got 2 Wolves. This was really hard to fine tune this part of the deck. How many wolves, how many archers, how many necro gardenas, how many everything, but 2 wolves seems to be the best. You can use them for solar recharge, you can use it for Lumina, you can use it for Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, you can send it with Foolish Burial. Yeah, that's it. It can be used with Raiden to make a level 8. That's not a dark requirement, so Crimson, Colossal, or Stardust. They can be used with any other of these level 4s to go into Evolve Chain or Honor Arc. They can also be can be used with Lumina as a beater. Anyways, that's about all. That's giving them too much credit now. Yeah, Wolf is just in there. Sometimes good. 2 Garroth works really well with Lumina. It's mainly the only point. Aside from the fact that you can sync level 8 with these 2, or this guy. You can also go into these 2 easily. If you get a Lumina or 2 Luminas on the field with one of these, you basically get your deck down to about 15 to 19 cards first turn, no matter what. If you have double Lumina, 1 Garroth, milling to about 15 cards is the goal. That's how you get all your plays going. So yeah, this 1, 2, 3 Lumina, mill 2, draw something sometimes. Next Lumina 3, mill 2, draw. Sometimes you hit a wolf or a archer. Sometimes, you know, there's so many things I could activate in the graveyard. It's almost always a good thing. Jane, another reason, I mean, these guys, yeah, there's better cards in the game, but these are Lightsworn names, and I run 3 Judgment Dragons, so I need to have multiple different Lightsworns, so yeah, so running 1 Jane, yeah, it's not bad. 1800, 1200, level 4 again, same benefit as Garroth, can be used to sync to level 8, can be used to exceed. Mills 2 in the end phase, and it becomes 21 when I attack, so sometimes you can just attack over something, like Exicon Knight, if you have less cards in your hand, which you can do because of all these discarding effects, usually are negatives. But to me, my graveyard's like a second deck, so most negatives turn out to be pluses in the long run. So if there's an Exicon Knight and I can't get over it, I don't have one of these breakthrough skills in the grave already, then that's fine. I'll just negative myself, summon a Jane and attack over it or whatever. That works. Wolf would work too. I think it's 1900, so Garroth won't work, but no, whatever. Raiden can also grow up to 1900 attack if I mill a Lightsworn. It's not really the main point though. The main point of this card is the fact that it's a tuner. That's the biggest, most important part, otherwise I wouldn't run it. There's no point to run it if it wasn't a tuner. It's a level 4 tuner, so with all these other level 4s in the deck, I can make any non-dark requiring synchro, so no Beelzes and no dark ends, but Stardust, Colossal Fighter, Crimson Blader usually. Skill drains out, then I make this guy, like in Dark Worlds, and I can't do anything about it. It just keeps coming back from the grave. To make Crimson Blader, that's cool if I'm playing like a Dragon Ruler deck. Lightsworn Dragon Rulers is the biggest mirror match, I guess. So being able to make Crimson Blader so easily really shuts him down. That's good. And Stardust is really good if I don't have any Beelzes out. Say I got a Leo and a couple of these Michaels, or a Leo and a few Lightsworns and a Crimson Blade or whatever. I can make this guy, and it adds a ton of security because I can just choose which monster I want to survive in the case of Mirror Force or Dark Hole. And obviously I'll just pick whatever is most inconvenient for my opponent, and that usually allows me to win. So this card actually allows me to win, and it's made using Raiden. So we can mill 2 in the main phase, which is good because it's faster than the end phase, and a lot of the times these cards you have to wait till the end phase, and a lot of crap can happen between main phase 1 and end phase, and sometimes I don't get their effects off. Biggest problem is breakthrough skill and effect failure, and this is still susceptible to those things, but it remains a tuner no matter what, and that's actually very good. Mills 4 total in 1 turn. I don't like summoning it early. I'd rather summon something like a Jane or a Lila. I don't like wasting this guy. I like keeping him, saving it for when I can use it to sync. I never really let it stay around until the end phase because there's lower value, more worthless cards that you can use to mill, like Lila and Aaron. That being said, Lila's at 1, same deal, level 4. Make those 8s and make the rank 4s. Can destroy 1 back row. Almost never do that. I used to run 2 or 3 Lilas, and it's awful. I run 1. 1 is plenty. I never use it. I use it if there is a continuous card, spell or trap or field spell. I just take it out. Otherwise, I don't do it. There's too many chainable traps running around, and a lot of my synchros can handle themselves. I don't fear trap cards I mean, there's not very many times where you can get me. The one card that can get me bad is Compulse, and it doesn't even work on Leo, so back row I don't really care about. Aaron, level 4, Mills 3, just like this guy, or girl, whatever, just like Lila. Aaron's cool though because it does have more value than Lila in my opinion, because it can send a face down back to the deck, and that's super cool. That's super good. I used to run 2 of them, but when I ran 2, I drew it when I didn't need it. When I have 1, it's much better because I can control when I want it. I don't ever get it when I don't want it. I can use Lumina to bring it out, or I could use Reinforcement of the Army. I never really want to draw Aaron when there's no purpose to have Aaron, because it's not that good by itself unless there's a face down defense position monster. Felice, I used to have more Felice than Wolf. Recently I switched it around. 3 total is the highest I would ever use. I would never run, maybe 4 max I guess, but I would never run more than that. Never put 5 total. I wouldn't run like 2 Wolves and 3 Felice. It's just not good. 1 is plenty. I have a ton of tuners in here. I've got these 2 guys, 2 Plague Spreader zombies. That's 4 or 5 tuners in the deck. That's more than enough. It's too many. Yeah, I can always sync when I want to, more or less. This is cool because it summons itself from the deck from a monster effect. So unfortunately, I can't Foolish Burial it. That's part of the reason why I have more Wolves than Felice, because I run Foolish Burial and it makes it more consistent, makes the whole deck more consistent. But the cool part about this guy is I can use Lavalval Chain to send it to the grave, and that is only if that's only if 2 situations. 1, I'm really just winning and I don't know what to do with myself. And it's really not that good of a play, but if I'm just overflowing with pluses and I really got nothing to do and I'm kicking ass, then I'll do it. 2, if I'm in a really, really bad spot and I really need Felice's destruction effect to help me, or if I want to use this to sync. The cool part is I can make these same 3/8s, but I can also make these 2 guys here, the Michaels, and these are just like Blackluster Soldiers, Chaos Sorcerer, except they mill. It's super good. You can still attack after you use its effect. That is what makes it amazing. You can summon this, remove from play their best monster, and then attack them. It's ridiculous. You can even remove from play spell and trap cards, and you can still attack. It's like Dark Arm Dragon for Light Sworns. It's like if Dark Arm Dragon and Judgment Dragon had a baby, it's like this card. Next, Electromagnetic Turtle. It's not out in the TCG yet, and it probably won't be for a long time. And I'm sure by the time it's out, there'll be shadows and whatever the hell else. So, probably never get to see this card. Never get to use it. It's really good though. It ends the battle phase. It's a level 4, and it's light. It's perfect. I can use it to sync up with my level 4 tuners. Any of these 8s. If I have to, I can use a Plague Spreader zombie and just make one of this guy here, the Sarius, the Blue Wolf Star. It's just a random level 6. Didn't want to use Iron Chain because it helps my opponent most of the time, and that's not cool. This card is just super good, surprisingly good. When it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, it doesn't need to be destroyed by battle. It's just any way it's destroyed. Then I can make one monster my opponent controls lose 2,400 attack points permanently. If they don't even have 24, it goes to 0. I can make any monster that he has 0 attack. I can just summon it and destroy it, and then they have no attack points. I mean, I don't know why this card isn't more popular, because I mean, it's perfect. I have all these level 4s running around here, and I've got 2 Plague Spreader zombies. They're just sitting in the grave. I'm in a tight spot. Let's just assume I'm in a situation and there's an Arc on the field. He just took my Beals, and I've got no cards in my hand, and I draw. I've got a Plague Spreader in the graveyard, or let's say actually I have a dead card in my hand, like I have an Allure of Darkness in my hand, and I draw Aaron, and he's got Arc out. Alright, I can summon Aaron, top deck the dead card with Plague Spreader, and make this. And then, I mean, that's it. It's 2,400. I could attack over it. If it was weaker, then I could do 2 things. I could crash it and wipe out its attack, or I could just leave it there, and then my opponent can't attack me. He has to figure out a different way to get it off the field. That's pretty hard. Even the Shadow Fusion that automatically destroys, it's still destroyed and sent to the grave, so then I can still wipe out that monster's attack points, and then I can just normal summon any Light Sword and just kill it. So, and because Shadows are so popular, it reminded me of Catastor. I mean, Catastor has the same effect as that Elf Shadow Fusion that everyone thinks is super good. It's really not that amazing. Catastor is in some ways better. All of the Shadows are light, so Catastor's effect goes off on every card, not only just special summoned from the extra deck. I mean, yeah, it's 2,200 instead of 2,800, but it doesn't matter unless you have a dark monster who's over 2,200, and that's very specific. It's very, very specific. You need to plan in advance to have a way to beat Catastor. Nobody expects Catastor these days. It's only $4. I'm surprised. This Catastor used to be a $15 card. It's so cheap. I can make Catastor with Necro or Lumina with a Plague Spreader zombie. I can make Catastor pretty easily. It's pretty funny. I could summon a Necro and special Plague, and my opponent probably has no idea that I'm going to go for a Catastor. He just allows all of the plays to go because he thinks that, you know, what could I possibly do with a freaking Necro and a Plague Spreader? Well, yeah, hello, Catastor, and it can destroy anything. So, I mean, and aside from Leo and Beals, but a lot of people don't run the darks necessary to make Beals anyway, and that's another reason why Catastor is so good, because nobody runs darks anymore. Okay, so anyways, Catastor is really good. Lumina, I'm sure everyone knows Lumina's effect. You just discard one, special summon a Light Sworn. That's very good. Well, I mean, it sucks if it gets effect veilered or breakthrough skilled. But you know what? Yeah, that'll hurt me, but the deck can function without Lumina. Lumina is more of a luxury than a necessity. I can use Lumina to help make Catastar. I can use Lumina to make this guy Michael, which is what I always do. If I go for Michael, I gotta use Lumina. I don't run any level 3 lights, so that's okay. I usually plus off Lumina as much as possible, then bring out Raiden or Felice and just make my JD Dad BLS fusion baby that mills cards at the end phase. That's really good. If I don't want to do any of that, or again, this is just like what I said with Felice. If I'm kicking ass and I don't want to keep milling and I'm about to deck out, I'll go ahead and make wind up Zeminis, because this card is super good. If I have this out and I have a Leo out, and I have a Stardust out, and I have a Michael out, there's nothing he can, and a skill prisoner in my graveyard, there's nothing he can do, or she. There's no way my opponent can win. I'll have a way to do something, and that's the way this deck functions. It's not a consistent play by play deck. It's a freaking variable combo deck. Alright, I'm just gonna invent a new archetype right now. This is a variable combo deck. And what I mean by variable is that you can make different plays and you can do different combinations, but they're all equally devastating and they all have the same end result. So I don't need to consistently make the same plays, because I can make the same plays 3 times over however I want, depending on the situation each game. So then there's Necrogardna run 2, and that's because Electromagnetic Turtle is 1. And the reason why it's 1 is because you can only use its effect once per duel. So yeah, I could run another one if I wanna make level 6 or rank 4s more often, or even these level 8s more often, but I mean, yeah, that's possible, but I don't know, especially since it's not in the TCG yet. No point. In fact, I'd be running 3 Necrogardna if I had to do it. Either that or I'd put in a 3rd Plague Spreader, I don't know yet, but yeah. So 2 or 3 of these. Same thing with Plague Spreader, 2 or 3. I've already explained it pretty much. When paired up with Malicious, when things get nuts, and I have access to all level 8s, including Beals and Dark End. Yep, that's it for the monsters. There's a lot of monsters. Let's see. 10, 20, 26. 26 monsters total. And every damn one of them is broke as hell. In their own way. I need every single monster in here. I spent a long time fine-tuning and tweaking this monster list. So don't tell me I should run Eclipse Wyvern, and don't tell me I should run a Dragon Ruler, or don't tell me I should do this or that, or I should take out this, take out Malicious, put in something, change the number of wolves. Don't tell me that, because I've tried every deck combination. I've tried all the dragons. I've tried this is the best build in my opinion. Here is my Dragon Ruler deck. Alright? Lightsworn Rulers, whatever the hell. This is my best go at making this deck. I mean, could I make it better? Probably. But there's just a problem with it. I mean, when it explodes, it has potential to do better, but you know what? At the end of the day, the deck is more expensive to make in real life. And it's less consistent, and sometimes you can really lose because of the dragons that you draw, and that's why I don't like playing dragons. There's really no reason to have them in here. I can make better plays with my synchros and my tuners. Okay, spells. 3 solar recharges. You need this one, especially because you're essentially running 3 wolves. 2 wolves and an archer. You need this card. It helps you draw, which you need draw power in this deck. It helps you mill, and you need mill power in the deck. This does both, and it's cheap, and it just works perfectly. Allure of Darkness. I didn't want to put this in the beginning, but I realized that I needed it because it makes the deck a lot more consistent. If I have a dead card in my hand, like a dead Malicious, that sucks when you mill 2 or you draw 2 or whatever. You mill 3 or draw 3. Drawing 3 is the worst, but you can use Allure of Darkness, Chaos Sorcerer, Malicious, or Necro Gardna. I wouldn't use it on a Plague. If you're really desperate, I suppose you could. And if you're really, really desperate and you have no darks in your hand, but you have a bunch of like these shitty wolf, electromagnetic turtle release, you can play it and send them all to the graveyard, which would actually help you out quite a bit. So, anyways, this really helps the deck. Draw power, gets rid of dead cards, and that's it. Reinforcement of the army in this deck is super good because you have tons of targets. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 targets for reinforcement of the army. It would be dumb not to run it, and I mean that. Foolish Burial. Every card in the deck's a target for Foolish Burial. You have alright, you know what, technically speaking that's not true. You have 26, 27, 28, 29 targets for Foolish Burial that are all valid. Yeah, it would be equally stupid not to run Foolish Burial. Monster Reincarnation really saves your butt. If you're really desperate, you can use Foolish Burial in combination with Monster Reincarnation to get you the difference between a win or a loss. Every deck, or almost every card in the deck is a target for Monster Reincarnation. Every monster is. Some traps are. Some, well, you can't, never mind, you can't use, no. Alright, just ignore that. Basically, every monster in the deck is a target for Monster Reincarnation. You can ditch his dead spell like Solar Recharge or an Allure, or you can ditch a dead monster. Way too good. Charge of the Light Brigade helps you mill your darks or your breakthrough skills or skill prisoner, and you can get any light sword in the deck to your hand. Almost as good as Foolish Burial and Rhoda. Some ways better because it specifically searches a light sword into your hand, like Lumina, Raiden, Aaron, Garroth, Jane, Lila, any card. Skill Prisoner. I tried more, I wanted to run more, but it's not good enough. 1 is like the perfect number. You get it in the grave, late game, early game, mid game, doesn't matter. You'll mill it eventually. And what it does is it just blocks a monster effect. And it just supports every card in the deck. Anything that's weak, like BLS or Beals, they can get targeted by Arc, by Effect Veiler, by whatever your opponent's monsters are. Whatever they can do, whatever they can negate your effect or send your card to the grave or hand or whatever the hell. Skill Prisoner blocks it. It's just like, it's kind of just like a screw you card. And boom. Phoenix Wing. Ditch your dead cards. Go back to the top of the deck. It's a compulse. But it's not limited to 1. And it's better than compulse in here. Because you need to get rid of your dead cards. Because this deck occasionally can give you shitty hands. And you really rely on your discarding. Breakthrough skill. This card is MVP of the deck. Honestly. This card, it negates your opponent's card effects. In the mirror match, it destroys the Light Swarms. It's an out to any monster on the field, and it allows you to activate all of your card's effects successfully. If your opponent has something like a mid-rash out, can't special summon, breakthrough skill. Executon Knight, can't special summon any strong monsters because they'll get blown off the field, breakthrough skill. That other L Shadow one that destroys your extra deck cards when it battles, breakthrough skill. It's an out to any monster. It's just any synchro breakthrough skill. It's an answer to anything. Lastly is the extra deck. I've already explained it. I'll go through it quickly because this is quite long. Leo, I can make him anytime, almost anytime. I have a Malicious and a level 4 Light Tuner. I can make him with Chaos Sorcerer as well. I can also make him with Cyrus. Can't be targeted unless it's my main phase 2. Then I have 2 BLS's. Those are can't be destroyed. Gains any damage that you take. Even effect damage. So if I'm playing against Burn, I can make BLS. And then it can gain attack power to any amount of effect damage I take. Crimson Blader. You know what, these are all self-explanatory, so I'll just show them. Colossal Fighter, Dark End Dragon, Shooting Star, whatever, Stardust. It's not the regular Stardust, I think it's Stardust Spark Dragon or something. Michael, the Dark Arm, JD baby, whatever. Cyrus, I've already explained. Caster, I've explained. Queen Dragoon Digin. This card is a tech. As you can see, a lot of these cards are dragons. This card can bring them back, and then they can't get destroyed by a battle. Yeah, their original effects are negated, but this is a rank 4, and I have level 4s everywhere. So if my synchros get blown off the field, and I'm in a tight spot, I can make Queen Dragoon Digin and bring back BLS. Sure, it can't, loses his powerhouse effects, but it becomes a 3000 beater that can't be destroyed by battle. And next turn I can do it again and bring back another one. I can bring back any of these dragons and they become beaters. And late game, when there's no more back rows and everyone's struggling to win, this card actually makes a big difference, especially because it's 2200 by itself. It's 2200 beater, it revives stronger beaters, and if it stays on the field for too long, it can be bad for my opponent. 101, this card's way too expensive. What the hell? I mean, it is good. It's not really key to the deck. I run it just because I can make it stupidly easy. Do I need it? No, not really. Why would I not use it? Because it's expensive. Why would I not use it on YGO Pro? No reason. I just play it. If you can afford it, play it. If you already have one, play it. You can make it easily. Take one of their special summon monsters, whatever, it's easy. It's a good out. The Volvo Chain. This is also too expensive. This one, making him usually is not the best play, but sometimes it can be helpful for doing specific things that are tricky to do without. So, sometimes I can turn the dead field into a field of opportunity. If I have like a wolf out, and then I have maybe a Garroth out, that's pretty bad. Neither of them mill, so I can make this guy, and then depending on the situation I can send pretty much any card I want to the grave. and have, or to the top of the deck. Gets to put JD at the top, Plague Spreader at the top, right in at the top, any card. It's so universal that it's kind of silly. I've already explained zonies. Anyway, this is the deck. I believe it can be tier 1 in TCG. I don't see anything in the current packs that can stop this deck. There's no opposition. The current meta is shitty in comparison to this deck. I can wreck TCG decks. Shadows are a problem. Medoshale could be a problem. Probably the best TCG deck aside from this and Heroes. Artifacts are nothing without Shadows. Yeah, I don't see any threats in the latest packs at all. So, starter deck comes out this Friday. Expect to see this deck romping around at the locals. I believe that it's going to win, and I believe it could top as well. Alright, thanks for watching.